In this video I will show you how I print my 3D printed maps. For instance here Liechtenstein, Everest and the surrounding mountains, or the Matterhorn, which I will cover in this video step by step. This was upon request from the Craftbot user group. They said that they like the smoothness of the surface, and they asked me how I achieve it. And there's one more mountain that is still on the build plate. There I used a different technique. I printed it upright. The other ones, they lay flat. And I created two different profiles to print these in the best possible quality. I will take now this one here off the build plate. It is a very shallow map, so I decided to print it upright. I will take it off. This is here a flex plate, so it should come off quite easily. Normally the Craftbot didn't come with a flex plate, but I just ordered a individually made one, and it works really fine. Great. So let me see here. This is very skinny. These are the White Tank Mountains, located close to Phoenix, Arizona. And as you see here, the supports, they come off quite nicely. And yeah, it's a great looking result. The previous one I printed also laying flat. I don't know if it will show in the slide, but I will make a screenshot. Here you see a lot of rings because the surrounding is so shallow, and there you see those steps. I think now like that you could see it, and here this one is very, very smooth. So depending on how the mountains are, if they are very high, then this will be okay. If they're very shallow, then print it upright. And although I needed less material and less height, the printing time on those two are the same. Isn't it incredible? But this doesn't make any sense. This looks horrible, even with adaptive layer height. Great. Prior to this, I also printed maps using this printer here in the back. And I always had a heavy stringing problem. I always had lots of spider webs, and after they asked me on the user group, on the Facebook user group, if I could create a map, I said, okay, I will do that. And but I didn't want to share a profile with all these spider webs on top. Here are the two maps of the White Tank Mountains next to each other. As you can see here, this is the ringing I was talking about, and when we take a look at it a little bit closer, we can see that it looks very coarse, although I printed it with 0.16, the same like the other mountains that you will see. So there was no difference really between the adaptive layer height and the one straightforward, only with 0.16. Yeah, of course you can go below, yeah, you can print it with 0.1, but to print it upright, you see that makes a big difference with 0.16 all the way. It looks extremely smooth. The only thing that I forgot to deactivate, and I guess this is where all these little holes come from. They're not bad, but yeah, they're there. I forgot to deactivate the outside in, which I used on this one and the Matterhorn. You see this outside in, it prevents me from getting the stringing. This was one of the settings that I adapted next to the adaptive layer heights. You see, this is so smooth, so it's hard to believe that this one looks so much better than this one, but it's because it's so shallow. So keep that in mind, depending on what kind of mountain you want to print. Please slice it, take a close look at the sliced part, and then you might decide which way you want to go. This version here, this one here, or the horizontal one. So let's take a look at all the test prints I did. This here is the piece I started off with. Can you see all these spider webs? It's incredible. Yeah, it was so frustrating. And no matter how often I printed it, it didn't get better. I adapted so many settings, but then slowly it got better. So here, let me see, this is a 0.16. Yeah, so many spider webs. This is a test piece that I made because this one here doesn't really look like a mountain, so I tried to create something that looks a little bit more like mountains. I will share it with you. So this was the second one, also not really any change. And this is the third one here. I even tried it with different filaments, and yeah, this was almost finished, and this one here is the finished one. I only have a little, some slight little whiskers on here, which you can just take off. Yeah, like those here. You see, it's hard to show, like something like this here, but you can just snip them off, but there's no spider webs anymore. Yeah. So this was the end result looking at these. So I think this is a big difference coming from this and having that one later. Yeah. Yeah, this one I didn't finish, because these are two different filaments, but both I ended up having this result. So it's not about the filament, it's about the settings. And I also took a look at the top surface, and can you imagine that the surface that looks so awful here, can you see that? This is with ironing. And this one here, this was a layer below. This was with, of course, with no layer ironing. But once I came to the layer where the ironing started, it looks so horrible. So I deactivated it. At least for these parts, it doesn't look nice. Afterwards, after this part here, then the little mountains would have started printing. I think if you have a surface that is just flat like here, the ironing might have a very nice looking result, but not when it is interrupted, at least not in my case. It just didn't work. And this is the settings I want to share for you regarding the flat maps. On this one, I adapted again a little bit, and you will see a comparison. So there are two different profiles. I also tried to adapt it to other printer using Cura, and it also worked. I printed a smaller map of Liechtenstein, and it came out exactly like this one. So it doesn't really make any difference if you use a Craftbot or other printer. Great, so I hope you will like this tutorial. So in this video I want to show you how I print my 3D printed maps. You can see some of them here on the screen. I have printed them in the past using the blue tank printer, I call it, that you see in lots of my videos standing behind me. But it got very loud recently and I stopped using it. I have to exchange all the internal parts and to pimp it. And so I thought, why not print the maps on the Craftbot 3? I have been using Simplified 3D in the past, but if you look at the maps it makes sense to use adaptive layer height and adaptive infill. To do so, I always used on the tank printer Cura as a slicer, which gave me really nice looking results. One problem that I always had though is I had lots of spider webs, you know, the stringing. You could easily wipe them off, but it's annoying, and I tried to tinker my Cura settings to get better results with almost no stringing anymore, and I managed to do so. I will show you both in this video how to create the maps, and I will share my profile with you that you might also be able to use on your printer with slight adaptations, of course. I am part of the Craftbot user group, and I have been sharing some prints of my maps because recently a user called Andreas Luthard, he shared a Cura setting for the Craftbot Flow series. The Craftbot 3 is not built anymore, and I thought, I'm left out. But he told me with some adaptations you might be able to run it on yours too. So I bought the profile from him. It's a small donation that you have to give to him, and then with the help of him I managed to adapt the settings, so now I can use it on my Craftbot 3. As you see here, I've been printing Liechtenstein, and people, you know, the users in the group, they liked it a lot. If you take a look here at some close-up pictures that I took, they said, wow, this looks so nice. I've been also printing maps in the past, but yours looks so much better. Could you please share it? And I said, oh yes, let's make a raffle. I will make a tutorial. You can choose which mountain you want, and the Matterhorn, it won. But then I thought, oops, but you cannot make a tutorial if you have this stringing problem. And it took me really long to get this Cura profile to a point where I said, now this is what I can use, and this is what I can share with you. But first, let's take a look how to create these maps. I always like to use Touch Terrain. This is the website here. So in this case, we type Matterhorn. And there we are. In the US, you can go up to 10 meters, but for the rest of the world, you have to choose 30 meters. We have to scroll out a bit, and we have to do like that. Scroll out a bit, a little bit more. Here's the Matterhorn, as you can see. Okay, this is really important, so I will go all the way from here to here. I will show you in a moment why. We will also include Zermatt because that's a very famous city. And to visualize it better to you, let's go into Google Earth. I will fly to Matterhorn. Let's go there. Oh, okay. Let's zoom out a bit. And it looks quite impressive, as you see. I don't know why this piece is black here. But as you can see, this is the lake here that I want to include. And then, yeah, I guess then here, this is Zermatt. So I guess this will look quite nice. Yeah. All of a sudden this black thing is gone. So I don't know, it's maybe a rendering problem. So I guess this region, it will look quite nice. Let's go back to the website. Here we are. And let's run through the settings here. So this is here the sun direction. I'm just going to leave everything as it is. And this is here the nozzle width. I will choose 275. Then I never made multiple tiles. I just want to print everything in one piece. Then the tile thickness is 2 millimeters. One, I guess it's not, yeah, it's too thin. Your map might break, so I would go to the safe side, 2 millimeters. You could exaggerate the height. Might look better on very shallow regions, but I'm going to leave it here to 0, so none. You should please take care not to go below 30. I will show you what it looks like if we choose 300 millimeter. You see this turns yellow, just to show you, oh please, you're below the 30. And so you could adapt the square here, but I already chose my region. I don't want to change it, so I simply change the width of my tile that I want to print, and then we are within this 30 meters. Then you can choose between different outputs, but I will gonna leave it on STL. Then I'm also gonna include a setting from this area here. So I want to prevent the smoothing of the polygons. Oh, let me see, I have to copy paste it like this here. Control V. And I want to lower the shorelines so we can see the lakes better. Copy, and we have to put a like that. Okay. Then we can create our map by simply clicking here. It will take a while, and in the meantime I will show you another map that I want to create. This is the region a Patreon member of mine chose. This is in the area around Phoenix, Arizona, and he chose the White Tank Mountain. I let my patrons make a raffle, like on the Craftbot user page, and Bob, he won. And he says he would like to have this region here because he likes to go hitchhiking with his friends in this region. And I let him also choose the area. And I have already created this map, and I will print it for him and send it to him. As you see, this is what it looks like now. It's finished. So I always like to copy this, go into my folder, and then I have a text file, and I store this here because if I want to go back to exact the same location again, I can just go to the link. I can just use the link that is provided here. Because the website deletes the data, but if you return, you can download it again. Okay, let's download it. So here it is. Let's unpack it. Oops. As you see, this is our map here. This is what it looks like. That looks really impressive. Looking forward to print this. Wow, that is so cool. Great. Let's import this to Cura. I'm working with the beta at the moment, but it will also work with your, maybe you are in 4.10 or 11, that will also work. Let's import the map. Here it is. As you can see, it looks really impressive. And I will go all the way to the left, like that. And there we go. And at the moment, I have not enabled the adaptive layer height. These are still the settings that I had from creating all my test prints, you know, the stringing tests that I made. Important here is that you print from outside to inside. That will take care that you don't have those spider webs anymore. I will share my profile with you. Yeah, so it took me a long time to create this. What I will do now here is I will change my layer height to 0.3. And I will enable here adaptive layer height. And on the infill side, let me see, where is that? So many settings. Infill, it already has that. Yeah, adaptive layer height. Yeah, so I call it gradient infill. Now let's slice it. As you can see, the base looks very thick here, but if you have shallow areas like here, it will be very, very thin. So be careful, don't make it too thin. And the weight will be really light because the adaptive infill, you will see it in a moment. So here is the finished sliced file. I interrupted the recording because otherwise it would have recorded too long. It takes quite a while to render. If we go into the preview, I want to show you the infill. This is really cool. I will make some screenshots when I'm printing so I can show you what it looks like live. And this saves lots of material. As you see, this is quite coarse here. And then there's like a net, woven net over it. And then on top, you see these are here the actual layers of the map. Yeah, there we go. And you can see here, these are all the movements. And this was causing, you know, I had these problems with a retraction, and I had lots of spider webs. That was really awful. So my settings really should be perfect now. I chose 0.3 because I'm using the adaptive layer height. Where is it here? So this is the setting that I chose here. So it goes all the way down. Let me take a look here. We can take a look at the layer thickness. And as you see, yeah, this map is not very shallow. I have, you know, if I look at Liechtenstein, I had lot of more variations here. So if you have lots of valleys, you would see lots of more areas in the other colors. So here, I could have left it on the 0.16 that I had in the beginning, you know, before I highlighted this. And I guess this is also why the slicing took so long, yeah, to generate this here. But let's start at the top. So 0.3, line width 4, 0.4. The initial width, I went down a bit, and also the top layers I made a little bit more skinny. The walls 3. And I print from outside to inside, but we'll come to that here. Outer, normally you don't do that, yeah. If you have undercuts, this will look ugly, so normally this is not highlighted on a normal profile, but here, as everything is like that, it will look perfect, and this will prevent the stringing. This is one part, yeah. So outer before inner lines. So it moves from the outside to the inside, then it will move out, and then, you know, it will cut off the string, the stringing. Hide seam, sharpest corner, top skin layer 1, I don't know, I don't remember what, there's so many things I have changed, so I will move through this really slowly. And I will make screenshots for you guys. And I will share via Dropbox, I guess, yeah. So this is here the adaptive infill settings. Then the material, I like to use extruder NX2 because it has a matte finish. It will look very good on maps. Then very important, if you're using a Craftbot, I have the normal E36 nozzle style, which was the first generation of the Craftbot, not the nozzle, not the long nozzle. So I found out that I have to reduce the flow down to 90. If you have the second generation hot end, or if you're using the flow, then you might go up to 100%, but please give it a try. I found out because, I don't know if you can see, here this is the third layer or so, and it looks really ugly. And so when I reduced it down to 90, now I have flawless layers. They're not squished anymore. Then the printing speed, I wouldn't go too fast because you have these tips here. So please keep it on a level where you can guarantee some good quality. Travel speed is also something that reduces spider webs. So the quicker you move from one point to another, you will prevent the stringing. Of course, you have to test it for your filament. I have a retraction distance now from 1.0, retraction speed 50, and here retraction prime speed. I might go slightly higher again because I was testing it on these small little prints, but I will have to slice it again, but yeah, a little bit higher. I don't care. I will do it when I'm not recording anymore. Then let's go through the cooling. I didn't change anything there. Excuse me, I didn't change anything there. Then a brim would be nice. Yeah. No dual extrusion. Yeah, and then bed temperature. Let me see, what did I have there? Bed temperature is 60. Yeah. Okay, I will start printing, and then I will make some screenshots or some short videos, and then I will show you the end result. See you in a day. That filament is awesome, isn't it? It is matte, it is not shiny, so it shows the surface texturing really nicely. I have always been using the extruder NX2. As you see, this is already empty again, but I have some new one. So some time ago I bought this huge spool, but even that one is already halfway empty, and I always respool it by hand. I have to construct or build a kind of respooler to help me get it on a smaller filament roll, a spare one. So happy printing. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and I would like to see your maps. Maybe you can share with me on Twitter or on Facebook. Yeah. Okay. Bye bye. See you next time.